Hey everyone, it's Alexander, the real Mr. Robinson. Welcome to the channel, and this is another live watch along. We are doing one of the more interesting Godzilla movies. One of the most controversial ones in terms of you either love this movie or you hate this movie. It's the final film in the Millennium series, the 50th anniversary film, and it's also the last movie to feature suitmation as a form of bringing Godzilla to life. So this is Godzilla Final Wars. Got a lot of people in the chat right now. Well, I have a feeling this is a movie that everyone was anticipating, just because it's so, like... It's pretty much, the way I could describe it, it's if an American got a hold of this movie. It's if an American made a Japanese Godzilla film, because Ryuhei Kitamura definitely has a more American approach to filmmaking than other Japanese directors, especially compared to Shin Godzilla, which we'll get to next week. So we're going to get right into this. First of all, just want to say hi to everyone in the chat, and I want to put somebody on blast right now. It's none of you guys who are participating in the chat right now, but earlier, I think it was either yesterday or it must have been yesterday, but I got a comment about, like, some random person came up and said, on my watch along for Godzilla 2000 in post, are you, like, seriously expecting me to watch you watch a movie? This is stupid and you're stupid as well. I'm like, no, you actually watched the movie with me, dumbass. And you call it a waste of time, but apparently you had the time to comment on that video telling me how it's a waste of time. So it's good to know where your priorities are, man. And I'm not going to say this person's name, but that person does know who they are. If they are if they are a subscriber, then be more respectful. If you're not, then whatever. So just want to put that out there. For those of you who have never known the concept of a watch along, if you're watching this in post or you're one of the live watchers lurking in the background, you watch the movie with me, and that's pretty much it. You have to own the movie or at least have to rent it, which in the case of Final Wars, you can rent it digitally. So there is that if you don't own a physical copy of it. But yeah, I'm probably going to talk about this movie quite a bit. I do have another story, but I think we're just going to get into it right now because this is the longest Japanese Godzilla film at 2 hours and 5 minutes. It's the first Godzilla movie to ever go past 2 hours. And the second longest Japanese film would be Shin Godzilla. So without further ado, we're just going to hop into the movie. Much like with some of this movie does not open with the, or at least the Blu-ray and DVD does not open with the TriStar logo. They just jump right into the Toho logo, which is just so much better. Because in a perfect world, I would like to skip the TriStar logo whenever possible. Just because it's like you already got the Toho logo. And yeah, I think everything's set up. Got people in the chat. Hopefully more people come in for this crazy movie. I know some people got mad when I gave Godzilla Final Wars the Burn in Hell rating. And maybe it was a little too harsh on my part. But I'm curious to rewatch this movie again to see if if I felt the way I did 2 years ago, or if I'm like, yeah, I give up. I've come around. So we'll see. We'll see how that happens. But for now, I'm going to play the movie now. There's that old school 60s Toho Scope logo. I'm watching this in Japanese, but since there's no difference between this and the dub version outside of dialogue, it doesn't really matter. There's a 50th anniversary title card that name checks Ishiro Honda, Eiji Tsuburaya, and Tomoyuki Tanaka. It's such an awesome intro, I gotta say. It's like we've seen the self-defense force go up against Godzilla already and fail, so let's just start with them for some reason in the Antarctica. Let's just start with Godzilla already destroying tanks. There's the Atragon, or Gotengo, from Atragon. And with one blast of his atomic breath, the Atragon's already down. And then Mother Nature decides to give the Atragon the, like, luckiest win against Godzilla ever. Like, if it wasn't for this earthquake, Godzilla probably would have killed them all. Like, that's pure luck. The music's all over the place for me. Like, I do like the music, but it just feels a bit out of place for a Godzilla movie, at least for me personally. It's weird that there's 3 composers for this film. Man, it really sucks that there's no like actual, like, there's the UN, but it sucks that the world still is at war with each other, or at least there's still war going on, because the Earth Defense Force, it's a cool notion. And here's the probably one of the coolest credit sequences for a Godzilla movie. And I got like, this was a big deal for, like, if you weren't alive back then, or if you don't remember, this was a big deal for Godzilla fans. I mean, the movie came out in December of 2004 in Japan. It come out on DVD the next year in December of 2005. But if you were a Godzilla fan living in Los Angeles, this was considered part of summer 2005. Because the Egyptian Theater had this monster movie marathon, and like their closing film was Godzilla Final Wars for the first time. And like, as a 16-year-old, no, not 16 years old, I'm not that old. As a 14-year-old Godzilla fan, Final Wars came out the same summer as Revenge of the Sith, Batman Begins, and then later that year, we'd get Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire and Peter Jackson's King Kong. So, again, it's a 14-year-old boy. That's, like, you couldn't ask for a better movie year for films, again, at the time. But as time went on, like, only a few of those movies really hold up. Like, Peter Jackson's King Kong. I still like Goblet of Fire more than most people, but Revenge of the Sith and Final Wars were not as great as as I thought they were back then. And then Batman Begins was the only one of those 5 movies that actually got better over time. This movie doesn't do a good job at explaining that Well, I guess you got that prologue introducing the the Earth Defense Force, but they didn't do. They should have elaborated that this is far in the future now, or at least from when the first scene opened. And there's Don Frye, which I will say one thing about this, about Ryuhei Kitamura, because he has a more American sensibility in terms of directing. He actually gets English-speaking actors to sound more natural than somebody like Ishiro Honda or Hideaki Anno. That being said, Don Frye is not the best actor out there at all. I mean, he's supposed to be like the tough, hard-ass captain. And in a sense, he pulls it off, but I don't know. It's just he's not one of the better actors out there. And I know he's more of an... Is it UFC? MMA fighter. So I think that's why Kitamura... Yeah, MMA. There you go. So yeah, I think that's why Kitamura wanted him in this movie, because he's a fan. Right Guy 2015 says, he don't need to act, man. He has that mustache. But yeah, that line delivery, like, fire, mazer. It's, ugh. And that is not a mazer. That is a freezer cannon. Very similar to Absolute Zero. Okay, Rflow says, is it implied that this is the same Godzilla as Godzilla Jr.? No, it's not. That's a rumor that is just total bullshit. Hang on, I like this moment here. There's Kumi Mizuno. Yeah, I have I'm under the impression that Gordon's going to get more in trouble for talking back than for almost losing the Gotengo. And here is one of the two most pointless scenes in this movie. Like, there is no reason for this scene to exist at all. Especially in a Godzilla movie. Anyway, there's been a rumor that this Godzilla was Godzilla Jr. from Destroya, and that's not true at all, because because supposedly Final Wars takes place in 2004. So in the present day when it came out, the only reason that shot is there is just because it's that shot of Junior when he's an adult is such a cool... God damn, that's so stupid. That freeze frame where they're in the air. I mean, it is insanely shot. This sequence is insanely shot. So at least it's not boring. It's just so pointless. And I think I may have said often that this is like if Michael Bay made a Godzilla movie. Just because it's barely a Godzilla movie. Or it feels more like... It feels the urge to be more like a Matrix ripoff than a Godzilla movie. But at least Kitamura has a more interesting directing style than Bay. But yeah, that Godzilla Jr. being the Godzilla in this movie is a bullshit rumor, and I don't even know why that was even started. I'm gonna post a video that Wikizilla made about like all the myths that have been going on throughout the Godzilla franchise. Oh yeah, also an X-Men ripoff because the idea of mutants. Although this world is progressive in the sense that they embrace mutants, so that's a good thing. I like the faces that Ozaki makes right here. The actor who plays Ozaki has some incredibly hilarious facial expressions. Yeah, I totally buy her as a biologist from the UN. This is a straight up Michael Bay moment. I do like how he acknowledges that, where he questions if she's a biologist. The only thing I will say that keeps her character from being completely from a Michael Bay movie is that Ryuhei Kitamura doesn't objectify her with the camera the way Michael Bay does with every single woman in his movies, especially in those shitty Transformers films. I mean, the movie really is like, hey, she has a lab coat on, so she must be a scientist. I'm like, try again. There's Kenji Sahara. Gigan was given the Shockwave Dark of the Moon treatment in this movie. No, Gigan had more to do. No, don't put Gigan on that. Gigan actually did awesome things. Man, Gigan's redesign is just so badass. And there's Akira Takarada. I think it totally makes sense that Takarada pops up in this movie because, I mean, they got a lot of old school Showa era actors like Kumi Mizuno, Kenji Sahara. It would felt wrong if they didn't bring in Akira Takarada because, I mean, he's the only actor of the main cast in the first movie that's still alive. And that was alive at the time this movie came out. We're just going to throw in Infant Island and the Mothra Fairies. I don't see in terms of the subtitles, I don't see the need to have two sets of subtitles for the twins, considering that they say the same thing. Oh, there's where that dagger came from. I wonder if that cave painting type of storytelling would be used in future Godzilla movies. Arflow says, because if you're deaf, you know two people are talking and saying the same thing. But they don't do that for the other movies. Like, they didn't do it for Tokyo SOS. Here, take this MacGuffin. We're not going to appear in the rest of the movie except to summon Mothra, but you'll need it for later. Don't ask why. Yeah, we know who that was. Yeah, this is offensive. And that, I would call that cop, discount Ben Stiller, because he looks like Ben Stiller. But it's clear that the cop is dubbed over, because the lips, like this part coming up right here. The dialogue says, shut the hell up. But if you look at his lips, he's clearly saying fuck instead of hell. Why the cartoony noise? That's a shot straight from Independence Day where everyone's looking up into the sky and getting out of their cars. Yeah, I hate that cartoon sound effect when the hats fly away. I gotta say, the CGI Rodan, maybe it's because this whole sequence is at night, but it doesn't look too bad. It has to be because of the scenes at night. Otherwise, the CG probably would not have looked very good. I know, I like how the subtitles say Anguirus is in Shanghai, King Caesar's in Okinawa, and Kamacuras is in Paris. But they don't say who's in Sydney. Just so we could get this reveal here. Yep, Zilla. And not only is he walking more upright than in Roland Emmerich's garbage film, but in that few seconds of screen time already, he has destroyed more of Sydney than Zilla did New York. And there's Anguirus, which this Anguirus suit is a remodified version of the Dagara suit from Rebirth of Mothra 2. Oh yeah, and Zilla, unlike in Roland Emmerich's film, Zilla goes out of his way to kill people. Ryguy 2015 says this movie is way better than Megaguirus. Yeah, I gotta admit, so far it is. And then just one trailer in the middle of the desert. There's something very there's something really weird at the fact that in this universe they have made toys out of these giant monsters. And I actually have a lot of those toys back that Canadian kid had. And there's the captain of Karyu, very different from Kiryu, is the same actor who played the leader of Kiryu Squad in the last two movies. Except he's not speaking Japanese. I think it's either Mandarin or Cantonese that he's speaking. Because I remember when I saw this at the Egyptian Theater for the first time, there would be Japanese subtitles accompanying any character that wasn't speaking Japanese. And there were Japanese subtitles when he was talking. There's no reason for Minya to exist in this movie at all. Like, I mean, outside of the fact that they just didn't make a new version of Godzilla's offspring, Minya is only in this movie for comic relief and as a way to stop Godzilla from killing the main characters. I do like that look for Minya a little more than the Showa one. And I think we're going to assume that she's a French captain. It is funny that all the crew members are Japanese. all the crew members are Japanese, but the captains are from whichever nationality each machine is in. Man, all those like real pyrotechnics, because that's not a miniature. They're actually blowing up those areas. That money could have been used to make more monster scenes, but whatever. Yeah, this directing style is nuts. I love watching the behind the scenes of this movie. Because when they showed Ebira and how they filmed this sequence here, like they just built like a giant lobster suit, but the guys legs are just walking around like it's nothing. Like I'll post that. I'm gonna post that video just so you can see how silly this sequence looks. It is, it is the concept of like super enhanced humans fighting these monsters is kind of cool. And it makes sense that Ebira doesn't get killed because he appears later in the movie. But if there was any monster that like these mutants could stand a chance against is it would be Ebira, because Ebira is not one of the stronger characters. Because again, he originated in a movie where Godzilla's role was supposed to be Kong's. Okay, that one-liner makes absolutely no sense at all. But the one thing I'm more impressed by than that one-liner is the actor that plays Kazama. He has a flawless American accent. So that's impressive that he has such a good American accent. How are you not aware of a giant Death Star flying over your base? GZL100 says, you sure it wasn't dubbed? No, it wasn't. Because the dub if you watch the dub, they don't dub over any English-speaking actors, but they dub over Kazama when he has those English one-liners. Yes, because those riot shields and guns are going to do so good against a giant UFO. Like, it's laughable that you guys have those equipped for monster fights, but I don't know. Hey, remember Star Trek? Yeah, Razorback sums it up best. I think my biggest problem with this movie is the fact that, well, okay, not just the end. Like, throughout this whole movie, it rips off The Matrix, it rips off Star Wars. Like, it rips off so many American science fiction that you go, was having giant monsters not enough? Again, Ebirah does not die. Ebirah lives for a little while longer. So that's the leader of the Exalians, is the same actor that played the was in Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, playing the guy who pretty much was a scumbag in hiding the plasma energy. And he kind of looks like a Japanese Chow Yun-fat. This radio will hit you in 11,736 hours. How long is that? I'm going to look that up. That is... That's, like a year and a half. Or not even, like a year and a year and a third. So that's actually not enough time. Yeah, in this world, they celebrate the idea of the space nations rather than our world, where when a man talks about how we're gonna create an organization about space travel, we laugh at him. Oh, good lord! I'm having flashbacks to when, like, back in the 2000s, when the teen girls would just go nuts for, like, these emo goth kids or boy bands. That radio That radio host is the director, Ryuhei Kitamura. Dylan Blurton, I'm sorry. So, welcome to the chat. He says, how could you have a guy wearing a netted shirt and another guy in a Hawaiian t-shirt in the South Pole? Oh, we'll get to that. Just strap in. We'll get to that moment. No, okay. Okay, the statement there about there's no scientific proof that they came from outer space. Do you not see the giant Death Star UFO in the sky? Yeah, I'm convinced that that one guy is not a scientist. That he's like, oh, aliens don't exist except that there's proof in the sky. He's the guy that would deny climate change immediately, even though there is proof that it exists. The Lois Lane of the Godzilla series. That's why I went for the climate change argument, Razorbike, because I hate bringing up the pandemic and the virus. The color correction on this movie is so bizarre. Like in certain scenes or locations, the coloring just like, I mean, it's a good way to distinguish where the film is, but it's bizarre at times. Yeah, that guy with the like giant Dracula cape, he's not suspicious at all. And that's the same actor who was in Godzilla 2000. Katagiri's assistant, or I guess. Politics. That's a lot of blood. That's a lot of blood to not panic over. I kind of do like the production design of this movie. Just how, like, it's supposed to be 2004, but like how futuristic it looks despite that. Oh yeah, the guy that plays the lead Exalian, basically the one who got fashion tips from Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He is... let me pull up the actor's name, but I think he might be the director's brother. Because he appeared in another movie that Kitamura directed. Kazuki Kitamura. Sky High, which is not the Disney Kurt Russell superhero movie. And he also appeared in The Raid 2. And he's also in Kill Bill Volume 2. I didn't know that. And Volume 1. The boss Koji. Razorbike says, hey, it was 2004. Hot Topic was all the rage at the time. Or maybe it's a... I want to see if it's a coincidence that if the last name is a coincidence or those two are actually related. Okay, that's funny. But awkward. You know, it would have been smarter to have, when they show different TVs in different countries, it would have been smart if they had dubbed over her, because there's no reason a bunch of Americans in a gym would be watching Japanese news unless it was dubbed over. Porn stash? Like, do you have to go to porn stash? You could go for Burt Reynolds. Like, I'm going for Burt Reynolds mustache. Yeah, that watch it X-Man line, outside of it being dumb, it doesn't sound like it would be dubbed over. It's a dumb line, but it's not dubbed over. You know, this, I gotta admit, this movie, for being a Matrix ripoff, this movie actually moves a lot faster than I remember. I love how Gordon's just so unfazed. Oh, Tom Selleck. Yeah, Yeah, he looks more like Tom Selleck than Burt Reynolds. I love the snorting of the French bulldog. He kind of looks like with the tongue sticking out. You know, if that tongue were to stick out anymore, he would be that dog would be Gary, Carrie Fisher's dog. I love that snorting. That's subtle proof, right there. That is a straight up Joker laugh. Here's straight up proof. It's a shame that those aliens, that doesn't extend to any more than just props. Because it would have been cool to see more of those aliens in their true skin walking around. You know, if I'm going to be fair, I mean, it's suspicious that they, no, actually, never mind. What I was about to say doesn't make any sense. So I'm wondering, like, the true form of the Exalians here, is that what the Exalians is that what is that what the Exalians would look like in Invasion of the Astro Monster if they had the money or technology? Huh. So there's that that one girl doing this, there is some hilarious overacting in this movie. You know, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to say like that. I mean, seeing that entire training sequence after the Manda attack that's pointless, but at the very least the notion of the mutants learning hand-to-hand combat is not pointless, considering that aliens eventually come in. So if there's more like sizable threats, that hand-to-hand combat plays into effect. Why didn't it affect him? I'm confused. You'll find out much later, but they do have an explanation of why Ozaki wasn't affected. That sequence is not well thought out, at least when it starts, because you have a bunch of the mutants who are just kind of standing there doing nothing. Again, for an action director like Ryuhei Kitamura, it is kind of disappointing. Now everyone piles on him like zombies. And here comes the second most pointless action scene in the film. I like the reactions there. It's just like, and this, I would say the music is awesome, and this sequence, as pointless as it is, it's very well shot. And then this happens. Hey, remember The Matrix? Yeah, we're gonna rip off that movie constantly. And throw our guns in the air for no reason. Yeah, there is no reason for this sequence to exist at all. Again, it's a very well shot scene. And I'm not, like, Kitamura's sensibilities for directing action is something I'm not going to take away. No, actually, it would be The Matrix 4, because by 2004, The Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revolutions were already out. Huh. All right, I gotta say two things. We are almost an hour into the movie. Um, I'm starting to warm up to it. Like, I'm starting to warm up to enjoying this movie, but not one of my favorite Godzilla movies still. Like, I honestly forgot that I'm watching a Godzilla movie, honestly. Um, and I really want to see, just because Kitamura's direction is so bonkers here, I'd love to see more of his other movies. Yeah, Gigan's here. Okay, here's an interesting fact. Um, Ryuhei Kitamura was actually offered to direct Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, but according to IMDb, he turned it down, citing a poor script. Which, I mean, he was probably a smart. I mean, it's maybe he dodged a bullet, but at the same time, if he had directed Tokyo Drift, he might have gone on to direct more of the Fast and Furious films. But oh well. I mean, Tokyo Drift is a terrible script, so he was smart to turn it down in that sense. Hey, remember Planet of the Apes? I I know, like, we all know Minya's name as a fan, but in this continuity, how do you come up with that name instantly? Um, yes, Razorback Tokyo Drift is the worst film of the Fast and Furious because it features none of the original cast members. It literally has nothing to do with any of the main movies. Like it's very like close to being a the equivalent of one of those straight to DVD American Pie sequels, where it only is in that franchise because of the name and nothing else. Now I want to see Ryuhei Kitamura direct a Fast and Furious movie. Just watching this film and the way he directs action, I think he's the perfect choice to kind of spice up the franchise. Which I know there's probably no shot that Universal executives watching this, but hey, Universal, if you obviously are gonna if you do Hobbs and Shaw 2, get Kitamura to direct it. So 1 hour and 1 minute. Yeah, 1 hour and 1 minute in, and Godzilla's name is finally mentioned. Because I don't think they ever said. I don't think the word Godzilla was ever uttered until this moment. That dude's face is intense. I never saw Doom Eternal, so I can't say. Oh, Doom Eternal's a game. No, I've not played it, so I can't. Again, I can't comment. Oh yeah, the samurai sword. They never indicated a love interest between Gordon and the reporter. Sorry, I was checking my phone for a second. Hey, he said the thing. Oh, hey, he survived. Don't get the hand gesture, but hey, here's Masato Sato's Mechagodzilla theme. Which, yes, totally passes as, like, him listening to jazz. That is a nice nod to Masato Sato. Oh, yeah, these two dudes. As I call them, Discount Shaquille O'Neal and Discount early 2000s rock. Because it looks like you have Shaq and The Rock together, except the diet version of the two of them. That joke was telegraphed a mile away. Oh, the flying effects for Gigan are awful. Because it really looks like they took a still image. It looks like it took forever. No, it looks like they took a still image of Gigan and just like composited it wherever. Giza100 says it took forever for him to appear in the 2014 movie. Yeah, but at least through that movie, you know you're watching a Godzilla movie. There's a lot of moments in this movie where you forget you're watching a Godzilla movie. And you don't have to wait for an hour into the film to at least hear the word Godzilla. This is a great reintroduction. Like, you just see the atomic breath come out. So yeah, hour and 9 minutes, and Godzilla's finally shown up. Again. Again, it's Tsutomu Kitagawa playing him. And in a much slimmer suit than before. One thing I really don't like is how, like, that training sequence and the motorcycle chase go on for far too long, but the monster fight scenes go on for too short. Like, I understand, like, we're supposed to show how tough this Godzilla is, but that was nothing. Like, Gigan got taken out without even trying. I just wish there was more emphasis, just as much emphasis on the monster action. Or maybe more, since it's a Godzilla movie. Now, I wonder if Godzilla recognizes this upgraded Gotengo as the same ship he fought at the beginning of the film, or he just sees something and has to destroy it. Okay, I just complained about how, I complained how short the monster fight scenes are in this movie, but surprisingly, the one monster versus monster fight scene, the one monster versus monster scene that I'm okay with being as short as it is actually Godzilla versus Zilla. Because I think it was meant to be, because this whole fight coming up right now is meant to be a joke and like the one final screw you to Roland Emmerich's film. It's so gratuitous with that Sum 41 song. Yeah, like Toho's logic, I think, was like there's no need for Godzilla fighting Zilla to last any longer than 15 seconds. Because we have to remind the world who the king of the monsters is truly. And then, okay, you know what? The fights between Kumanga and Kamakuras, I'm also okay with being as short as they are because Kumanga and Kamakuras are some of the weaker and worse Godzilla enemies. So it's more sad if Godzilla struggles with these two. Like again, with Godzilla versus Zilla, I'll forgive it because it was meant to be a joke. And Kumanga and Kamakuras, I'm fine with because, again, they should not be a challenge to Godzilla at all. Yeah, the color palette, like, again, the change in colors, it's good to know, like, where we are in terms of the world, but it's so vivid and so, like, out there. Yeah, again, like, Kamakuras, that fight was as long as it needed to be, considering that Kamakuras is just a giant praying mantis. Okay, this moment here, as exaggerated as this movie is, this moment here is actually pretty subtle and I think is actually brilliantly written. Like, what he's talking about are like nuclear testings, and it's a nice way to like to explain to a child like it's brief, but it's a nice way to explain like to a child the dangers of nuclear weapons without like going any further than that. So that's that's a moment that I really like. Oh yeah, there's that MacGuffin. Yeah, that's not safe at all. Letting a giant monster, which by the way, Minya shouldn't exist if Godzilla was frozen in ice, unless I don't know. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole of why Minya exists. Oh yeah, this scene. Basically, Godzilla fights all of his allies. Godzilla plays soccer, or unlike, I mean, or British football. Oh, Godzilla's grasping when he grabbed King Caesar in the air. One of his hands was like clenching King Caesar's ass, which bad touch, Godzilla. Yeah, Rodan falling to the ground did look fake at this moment here. Wow. So, originally, according to Toho Kingdom, Godzilla was actually supposed to kill those monsters. Here's what Toho Kingdom says. Originally drafted, Godzilla was supposed to kill every one of his opponents throughout the course of the film. In context, it does seem odd that Godzilla would seemingly spare his three foes, settling for what would appear to just be their defeat. However, according to reports, the sequence not being included and completed was due to not wanting to destroy the suits for such a scene. Yeah, so they could later see promotional use. Although that's one way of looking at it, but I also feel like, yeah, as Justin Toner says, he doesn't kill them because it's a nod to the fact that all three of those monsters were his allies at one point. So yeah, we got a good decent amount of Godzilla action. Now it's time to rip off Star Wars. Once again, Gordon just seems so unfazed by this act. Ooh, Lord, that CGI. Like, this moment really looks like it's from a PS2 game. Yeah, this is straight up Return of the Jedi. Yeah, Return of the Jedi with terrible CGI. Yeah, this is 2004. What came out? What big films came out in 2004? Like in terms of big special effects films. Okay, Harry Potter and Prisoner of Azkaban, Spider-Man 2. Again, Gordon's not fazed by this at all. The Day After Tomorrow. Yeah, like all those movies, whether you like Day After Tomorrow or not, like they all had, like all the CGI looked really good in those movies. Those three movies that I mentioned. But the CGI here is just, ooh. Nope. You know, in theory, the Exalians were should have been too late to stop them from firing the maser. That's a shame. For some reason, that always bummed me out when the Gotengo crew was killed. Oh yeah, Mothra's in this movie. So was Mothra just doing nothing as the Exalians were attacking? Oh, yeah, Hedora. Out of nowhere. Hedora just pops up out of nowhere to just get killed. Yeah, like, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, Justin Toner. Okay, I got Justin Toner. Have you seen this movie at all prior to this? Because the way you said, "What the fuck, Hedora," it sounds like you've never seen this before. Because it's so weird that Hedora, like, they never even established Hedora with all the other monsters earlier on, and then here he is all of a sudden. Oh, you haven't? Okay. Interesting. Oh, was he? Wait, if you need humanity's numbers to increase, then why'd you kill the crew? Oh yeah, that meteor got here quicker than a year. If you ever needed a moment, if there was ever a scene to show how overpowered this Godzilla is, it would be this moment here. Like, I don't think Godzilla stopped, I think the meteor got close enough to the Earth's surface to where it caused all that damage. And then Godzilla's just standing there unharmed at all. And then we got the new monster. And the way they introduce Monster X, it really is like the final boss moment. Like, he literally just floats down. Oh yeah, then the suit actor who plays Monster X, the suit actor that plays Monster X also played King Caesar. And I think several of the suit actors took double duty in playing monsters, except Tsutomu Kitagawa as Godzilla. Like, if I'm correct, I think the suit actress that plays Manila also plays Rodan. And I think Anguirus, Gigan, and Ebura are played by the same suit actor. I could be wrong on that last fact, but I'm pretty sure that the same suit actress Manila and Rodan are played by one suit actress. Yeah, I'm sorry, the buzzsaw hands are too much. Like, it's just too much. And funny enough, this sequence here where you have Godzilla and Mothra versus Monster X and Gigan, they did a better job of this in King of the Monsters when it was Godzilla and Mothra versus King Ghidorah and Rodan. If you just solely pay attention to the monster stuff, and then watch the finale in King of the Monsters, it's nearly identical. Except this one's not done as well. Because Mothra and Godzilla don't even, like, acknowledge each other in this movie, or even share the same screen. So is M-Base on Planet X just like Vibranium in Wakanda, where it's just everywhere? Unlimited power! Yeah, that didn't really affect Godzilla. It's funny that Gigan first appeared in 1972, and we had to wait until 2004 to see Gigan use his laser eyes in a movie. Now he's evil. Wait, so you said you needed them alive to reproduce, and now you're ordering him to kill them? Yeah, that worked out. Okay, Don Frye and the actor playing Ozaki are just having a competition of who can make the dumber face. Again, you got this moment where Gigan and Monster X are teaming up on Godzilla. And then Mothra shows up. And again, Godzilla never seems to acknowledge that Mothra's here. Okay, so earlier someone was asking why Ozaki didn't turn evil back with the other mutants. Because he was holding that thing the whole time. And again, it's a MacGuffin. Like, it brought him back to being a good guy. It snapped him out of his trance. Deus Ex artifact. Pretty much. Oh, there's that pollen. So it looks like Mothra's ready to die. Such a waste of Mothra in this movie. Like, I know she was just in the last one, but again, it's Mothra. Like, you don't waste a monster as popular as her. Yeah, that's the end of Mothra and Gigan in this movie. Hey, remember The Matrix? I swear, he's the, he could pass as, this actor, really could pass as, the Joker. If they ever made a Japanese Batman film, Kazuki Kitamura could have passed as the Joker. And again, like, Oh, GZO 100, you have to see The Matrix. The Matrix is one of the best science fiction films of the 90s, or the last 25 years. Because that movie's 21 years old now. Again, for Godzilla's atomic breath being as powerful as it is, all it does is just move the UFO. You know, back on over at Double Toasted, they had a cast member named Ian Butcher, and when he and one of their other former hosts, Sammy Gonzalez, were reviewing Jason X, he asked Sammy Gonzalez asked why the android was like dressed up in leather and kicking Jason's ass. And Ian says something like, it's because The Matrix came out and Kung Fu and leather were really popular. That really summarizes this movie right here. Like, why are there so many characters in leather doing Kung Fu and martial arts? It's because The Matrix came out. Okay, how? Like, how did the Secretary General survive? Like, I get the other two being replaced by Xalians. But we saw Secretary General's plane blow up by Rodan. There were no survivors in that plane. So how the hell did he get out? How did he survive? I want to know that. Turner Jenkins, welcome to the chat. And again, this moment right here, we only get snippets of monster action. This lasts for a few seconds, and then we're back to the human action. No. Oh, Gzilla 100. Do not put Jason X on me and saying that it's my favorite Friday the 13th movie. I will. Again, I'm reviewing the Friday the 13th series in October, so I will elaborate more on those films. This action is so exaggerated. Again, like, so we could have devoted this time to there could have been a lot of time dedicated to to Godzilla fighting Monster X, and not as much time devoted to this. But yeah, I mean, it's like 20 minutes of the movie left. And I've sort of come around to it. We're near the end of the Godzilla series. Because after this we have 3 more weeks to go. So why are there machinery sound effects coming out? Huh? Okay, that's kind of funny where she asks, "Are you gonna hit a woman?" And I mean, it could have gone down a really sexist route. When Don Frye has the fist up, he looks at it and then turns into a hand. like, again, that could have gone a horrible way. That could have gone a horrible route. But he just does a karate chop to the neck. So, at least there's that. Anyone paying $30 just watch Mulan? I am. Mainly because it's my job as a critic to see it. And the $30 price tag is like going to actually see the movie at the theater and getting concessions and all that. I would have ended up spending around $30 anyway, so I'm fine with it. Okay, I like that moment there where just a tiny hit, and then Kazuki Kitamura is just like, Chotomate. And then suddenly Ozaki is a master. As Razorbike says, you've activated my final form. And also, with Mulan, if I'm correct, since it's a Disney Plus movie now, again, we could have had more monster scenes. Since it's a Disney Plus movie, I believe how it is if you pay the $30 to get Mulan, then it's officially on Disney Plus forever for you to watch. So you do get that in the end, at least for $30. But again, I would have preferred to see Mulan in the theaters, but considering how poorly President Shithead has done, we can't have nice things in 2020. Which again is why I'm doing these watch-alongs, to try to get more content out for you guys. Yeah. I saw some mention in the chat about the horror remakes that Platinum Dune produced, Michael Bay's company. I haven't seen the Friday the 13th remake in a while, but I remember not liking it. I never saw the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, and unless I get around to reviewing the Nightmare series, I don't have any plans to watch it immediately. And I actually liked the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. Yeah, why are all these cybernetic sounds coming out of the Exaliens? Like, are they aliens or are they cyborgs? Doesn't make sense. I mean, unless they're all drones. I mean, okay, it makes sense. It would make sense if they actually were drones and cyborgs because they don't revert back to their alien forms when they're killed. Huh? Ooh, look at this vision. Look at that. Yes, because all the motions needed to jump in were totally necessary. Because we had to give Miss Otanashi something to do. We had to give her something to do outside of just bringing Ozaki back to his senses. Hey, remember Star Wars? Oh yeah, in the behind the scenes, they actually surrounded Kitagawa and the Monster X suit actor with actual flames, and I can only imagine like you sweat it already in those like there you already sweat enough in those suits, being surrounded by fire. It just sounds so painful. Huh? It seems so like stressful. Okay, the movie you're thinking of, Hunter, is well, first of all, welcome to the chat. I don't think I acknowledged you, but yeah, the movie you're thinking of is actually The World Is Not Enough, where Denise Richards plays a scientist, and that really is what the equivalent is. Yeah, so, yeah. Monster X's final form is Kaiser Ghidorah, which, yeah, for the 50th anniversary film, it would have made sense to actually have King Ghidorah, but instead we just get a new Ghidorah to go along with Death Ghidorah. So there's King Ghidorah, there's Death Ghidorah, and then there's Kaiser Ghidorah. This actually is not King Ghidorah because this dragon's brown. It's got this dragon's brown. It has smaller wings. It has 4 legs. But it's supposed to be this film's equivalent of King Ghidorah, but it's not. And fans have just acknowledged this as its own monster, not King Ghidorah. And yeah, the first time in this series where Godzilla is actually getting annihilated. Oh yeah, Mecha King Ghidorah also. Also, the first time that the gravity beams actually live up to their name. Which, by the way, I'm mad. Like, I'm kind of mad that I saw this movie in July of 2005, about 7 months after this movie came out in Japan. And I'm really, like, and for the Christmas, the year this movie came out in Japan, I got a bunch of Godzilla Final War toys. One of them was Kaiser Ghidorah. And in a way, it made me so mad because Kaiser Ghidorah was kept from the trailers. So it's like, yeah, Kaiser Ghidorah was kept in the trailers, and nobody knew he was in the movie until the TV spots after the movie came out. Because you know how like sometimes for big blockbusters, his face, Ozaki's faces kill me. Again, this is like King of the Monsters, where Ghidorah is sucking the life out of Godzilla, but the humans intervene to try to save Godzilla, and Ghidorah is killed by a powered up Godzilla. But anyway, yeah, like, in the TV spots for Age of Ultron after the movie came out, you saw more Vision, and the TV spots for Jurassic World after that movie came out, you saw more of the T-Rex. So yeah, I had no idea that, like, I'd been like obsessed with looking up as much info on Final Wars before seeing the movie. And the one thing I never put together was and the one thing that they never showed until after the movie came out was Kaiser Ghidorah. So essentially for Christmas, if I'm gonna basically for Christmas, basically I got a spoiler for Christmas, but whatever. Back then I was not like I was not antsy or butthurt about spoilers as I am today. But yeah, this finale is so like the finale of King of the Monsters. Mothra and Godzilla tag team against two other monsters. The Mothra and the other enemy monster are taken out. Godzilla is overpowered by a Ghidorah type monster. He's saved by the human characters. He kills Ghidorah with a supercharged attack, leaving one of the heads left. So I would not be surprised if Michael Dougherty took inspiration for the finale in King of the Monsters from this. And then, of course, Godzilla's back to doing this. You know, after the first encounter with Godzilla, you would think they would have made this new version of the Gotengo more durable against his atomic breath. No, I have not seen Mask of the Phantasm, and thank you for spoiling that movie right now. So, yeah, thank you for that, Hunter. Whatever, it's fine. I'll probably forget it anyway, because what you're saying feels a bit out of context, but whatever. Yes, because that flip out, that, like, leap feet first outside the door was completely necessary. Man, Godzilla's huge. And once again, all of them aren't fazed by Godzilla just looking over them with a death stare. And of course, the only reason why Manila's in this movie because we needed some way, we needed a reason for Godzilla not to kill the human characters. Yes, because those tiny pistols, a hunting rifle, and a samurai sword are going to do wonders against a giant monster. You know, the little kid doing that for Godzilla, trying to block Godzilla, not really going to do much. Because they could have just kept firing. But then you had Minya doing the same thing. You know, I just realized Manila's head in this movie looks like one of the earlier concepts for Godzilla in the 1954 film, where it kind of... One of the earliest concepts for Godzilla's head was that it was supposed to resemble a mushroom cloud. I never noticed that till now. That's a nice little nod. Yeah, this Godzilla is so thin, so skinny compared to his previous incarnations. All right, somebody asked how they drove a truck through a decimated city. The real question is, how did she survive that giant onslaught of battle and that massive explosion with her bulldog? How? Man, the actor who plays Ozaki, he has some hilarious facial expressions throughout this film. There is something very bittersweet about this ending where, yeah, very bittersweet knowing that this is the very last movie where Godzilla's brought to life through traditional special effects. Because, I mean, Shin Godzilla did utilize some miniatures and combined it with the CGI Godzilla. But I'm sorry, I missed the man in the suit. And when Toho decides to keep making more Godzilla movies, I hope they bring suitmation back. Because, I mean, Shin Godzilla worked brilliantly with CGI. But I hope future movies they'll use suitmation. Because it is... Yeah, this was like... I really did believe that this would be the last Godzilla movie ever. And for it to come out the same, and for me to see it the same summer as Revenge of the Sith, it made me think like, this is the last, like this was the year that ended Godzilla and Star Wars, and I never thought there'd be any more movies afterwards from either franchise. So yeah, someone asked if I would change my rating for Final Wars. I would. I've come around to this movie. Yeah, Burn in Hell, it's just, that's way, like, even last year, when I was doing my short Godzilla videos and talking about my least favorite films in the Millennium series, Burn in Hell, like, it's just, that's too harsh of a rating for this movie. Because it's never boring. Like, there's never a point in this movie where it slows down, it's never dull. It's just I wish there was a lot more emphasis on the monster action than there was the human action, and it being a Matrix ripoff. So, oh yeah. By the way, Mothra lives, and she never decided to help Godzilla during the final battle. Yeah, these ending credits by Keith Emerson are good, or this ending credits song. And I don't know, the music actually, like, it's very out there for a Godzilla film, but it fits with the specific tone that this movie's trying to convey. So I'm checking on Letterboxd to see what rating I gave it. 2 stars. I'm going to update that and bump it up to 3. I don't know. 3.5. Fuck it. So if you need any specific, like, details on what I rate this movie in terms of a star rating, I'd say 3.5 stars out of 5. I mean, yeah, it's really fun. I just wish there was more emphasis on Godzilla, and I don't think it's a better finale than... I feel like in terms of a finale, Godzilla vs. Destroya was a better finale than this movie. Razorbike asks, is the next review you're doing Piranha by any chance? I don't know about my next review, but the kid's got a Biollante and Mogera figure. that moment still cracks me up, and I like how the end credits pretty much show deleted scenes or extended scenes. Um, yeah, I would say if my personal rating, I'd say I don't know, because you kind of have to be in the right mindset to see this movie. Yeah. Um, so on that sense, I would say watch at your own risk. So sort of like Deep Blue Sea, where um, it's it's well made for the kind of movie it is, but it's really not for everyone. Like there are many other Godzilla movies that I'd recommend over this, but so yeah. So yeah, that would be my mini review for this movie to update my rating. It's no longer a burn in hell. It's watch at your own risk, but in the most enthusiastic way possible. Now this means I have to redo my Godzilla list, and yeah. Yeah, that's the end of the Millennium series. I feel kind of sad because yeah, it's sad knowing that again that there hasn't been a Godzilla movie since that used the old style of special effects. Yeah, I've definitely come around to Final Wars. So yeah, Gzilla 100. Hail to the king, baby. Um, oh boy. Okay, so yeah, next week, we're going to be doing another batch of excellent Godzilla films. Gareth Edwards' 2014 film. Yeah, Gareth Edwards' 2014 film, and then Shin Godzilla, which Shin Godzilla is one of the best films of the franchise, and as I've said often, one of the best films of the last decade. And then the next week after that is the anime trilogy, which I'm not looking forward to doing that. Excuse me. And then the last week will be the final film in the anime trilogy and Godzilla King of the Monsters. Razorbike says, what are your thoughts on Piranha by any chance? You'll have to wait till the review. Not going to spoil it right here. But yeah, that's my watch along for Godzilla Final Wars. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you really like what I'm doing with the channel, you want to help support financially, again, you go over to patreon.com/The Real Mr. Robinson. The link is in the chat. If you want to see more exclusive watch-alongs for patrons, you could pledge just $1 a month. At first, you'll just be supporting the channel financially, but once we hit 25 patrons, I'll start doing live watch-alongs twice a month for random movies, just any type of movie at all, because during the pandemic, I'm doing Godzilla, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Star Wars, and Harry Potter in that order. And, yeah, if you can't support financially, that's fine. Your views and subscriptions on YouTube are just good enough right there. Any type of support you give, even if it's not financial, is totally acceptable. So yeah, again, next week will be Gareth Edwards' Godzilla and Shin Godzilla. Until then, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one.